All right, everybody. Good morning. Let's kick off this new week as we jump into the second half of February. I don't know about you guys, but this year has already flown by. I feel like we just ended Christmas, and here we are sitting in the beginning, or really the halfway point of February. So jumping into today's call, I've got a cool call plan for you guys because I'm going to break down the opportunity for you, right? I'm going to give you guys legit numbers of what you could follow to hit that goal to become financially free through this industry. So stay tuned for that as we jump on into that topic here in a little bit. But before we do that, I want to give some agents a big shout out for just having a huge week. So I want to take the top 5 agents of last week and give them a huge congratulations. Go to the WhatsApp chat and give them a shout out as I go through these names here. But coming in at number 5 of the week, we had Justin. I want to put Justin on here because not only was he in the top 5, okay, for annual production, but he has been off to a phenomenal start this year. No doubt that this is going to be the best year yet for Justin. So super proud of you, Justin, and all the hard work that you've been putting in, especially last week. Let's give a big shout out for number 4, Miss Julie Flincham. Like always, big shout out to Julie. Julie is, without a doubt, just one of the best agents that I have ever seen in this industry, from how she treats her clients to how organized she is to her work ethic. If you could write out the perfect agent, it would be Julie. So Julie, nice job to you coming in at number 4 for the week. Coming in at number 3 again for another week in a row is Rebecca. Big shout out to her. Her and Justin, the power couple there, both finding their way into the top 5. But big shout out to Rebecca. Every week so far since January 1st, Rebecca has been in the top 5 in production, just running really, really hard this year. So Rebecca, great work to you. Coming in at number 2, we had the agent of the year last year, Aaron Lunsford, coming in at number 2, like always. So nice job to you, Aaron. Always being in the top 5, always being in the top 3. So just super great work to you. Guys, picture this. Aaron is a mom. She's a wife. She's got baseball practice, all these crazy things that are going on, right, with that schedule, school, you name it. And here she is in the top of the leaderboard again this week. So nice job to you, Aaron. Then taking home number 1 is Allison Chapman, a.k.a. El Chapo, as you guys know her as. But big shout out to her coming in at number 1. I think she had the most applications on the week last week, coming in over 10, I believe, and the most AP. So great work to you, Allison. Just phenomenal job to her too, right? Started off this year, number 1 Medicare agent. I think she put in over, Allison, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but I think you put in over 100 or 200 clients just this last AEP. So just doing big things, and then life production on top of it coming in at number 1. So top 5, amazing work to you guys. It takes a lot to battle your way up to the top of the charts each week, and you guys did it in an amazing fashion last week. So great work to you guys, top 5. Let's jump into the verse of this week, really. The verse of this week, all right? The Lord is greater than the giants you face. Simple verse, but so true. All right, no matter what you're up against going into this week, all right, you have the blood of a king running through you, and he is much greater than whatever is in your way. Even if you can't see a way past it, I promise you he can. So take this verse and run with it this week. The Lord is greater than the giants you face. All right, 1 John 4:4. One of my favorite verses right there to kick off this week. Hey, guys, I want to post this picture for you, opening up this Monday morning call, just to give you a reminder of how important it is what you do on a day-to-day basis. So I got this email today from Mutual of Omaha, 5:05 a.m. One of my clients, the policies changed from in-force, all right, to death claim pending. Okay, what does that mean? That means I had a client pass away probably within the past 1 or 2 days, and Mutual of Omaha got the claim to start processing that. Check it out. I looked at this policy. This was one that I wrote back in 2020. Okay. One of the first policies that I wrote when we moved to our new house. And I know this client, I believe she was 84 years old. Okay. When I wrote her back in 2020. And she was just the funniest client that I have ever met. The nicest, sweetest, funniest lady ever. All right. She told me, she said, hey, if your wife doesn't ever treat you right, you just come on back here to mama. So I told Alicia that the minute that, that this lady told me that. But I got this notification today that she had passed away. And it's just an extremely sad thing for the family, right? But think about had I not visited her. Think about had she not had this policy in force, all right, for her son. I remember talking to her son on the phone when I wrote the policy to explain what this was, right? He lived in a different state. And so the benefit amount was close to $18,000 that the family will get paid to be able to cover everything. And guys, you can be the only light really when people are going through the worst day of their life, losing their mom or their family member, right? And having to go through all of that grief. I want you guys to see this because if you're a newer agent, you might not have seen one of these notifications yet, but you're going to, and it's going to bring this industry full circle back to you when you start seeing the impact that you actually have on people and their family, all right, and the difference that you can actually make, all right, for them to be prepared on the worst day of their life like this. So keep that in mind, guys, as you go out there in the field today, or as you pick up those phones at some point in time, you're going to get this email from that person that you were talking to, and you're going to be in a spot to either help that family, all right, and then help them through the worst really day of their life as they go through this stuff. So something to think about, guys. Keep it in the back of your mind. Everything that you do this week, how hard you run, how many leads you buy, how many doors you knock on, how many calls you make, all are really for this reason, all right, to protect the families and to give them some type of financial peace on the worst day of their life. So keep that in your mind as you guys go into this week. All right, today's call, I want to talk to you about commitment. All right, I want to talk to you about commitment, and then I'm going to jump into the opportunity to actually become financially free through this industry. But before I jump into commitment, I want you guys to put it in the agency chat or in the comments. Why is it important for you to actually become financially free? All right, what do I mean by that? I mean, you don't owe nothing, right? Maybe you owe on your house, but you don't owe credit cards. You don't owe car payments. You don't owe anything. You know, financial freedom to me is being able to go to the grocery store and buy groceries and not have to be stressed out about how much they cost. Financial freedom to me is to be able to go into a grocery store and see the person that might be struggling to buy those groceries, and you can buy them for them and it not even bother you, right? Financial freedom to me is being able to leave a waiter $100 tip, all right, just to make their day better. All right. Financial freedom is being able to help people, all right, with resources that they can't get help, but you can help them because you have the resources to be able to do that, right? Really, for me, financial freedom is being able to take everything that God's given you, right, and be a good steward of it, right? Everything that we have is not actually ours. It's ultimately His. The money sitting in your account is His, all right? The clothes that you're wearing are His, all right? And we're just managing this stuff. So being financially free is managing that in a way that pleases Him ultimately, right? So how do we get there? All right, guys, it's real easy. Commitment, the state of being dedicated to a cause, activity, etc. So are you going to be committed towards actually hitting that goal? That would be my question for you going into this Monday morning is, what are you committed to? You see, when we got started in the insurance industry, I wasn't committed to being the best agent in the world, right? Or anything like that. I was committed to becoming financially free through this opportunity. So when I woke up in the morning, that's what I thought about. How do I become financially free? right? When I went out and knocked on that first door, that's what I was thinking about. I wasn't thinking about, is Miss Betty going to be rude to me? Are my leads going to be bad today? I wasn't thinking about any of that. I was thinking about my commitment to becoming financially free. Okay. Back in 2018, when we started in this industry. So my question for you is, why are you here? And will you commit to that reason that you're here for? So drop it in the agency WhatsApp chat. Why are you here? And then will you commit to that reason? See, some of you guys might have found yourself in this industry for a lot of different reasons. Maybe you needed more time back with your family. Maybe you needed something more flexible with your schedule. Maybe you needed something that you didn't want to have a capped income, right? You were stuck in one spot and you want to move on to the next thing, all right, that you could create for yourself. There's a reason that you're here. All right, maybe you lost your job and this is the first thing that popped up for you and you went for it. There's a reason. All right, but I want you guys to think about, what are you actually committed to for this year, for the next year, for the next 5 years? What's your actual commitment? Okay, when we got started in this industry, we weren't thinking, hey, we're going to do this for a week and see if it works, right? We thought, hey, we're going to do this for 10 years, 5 years, 15. We're going to do it forever, all right? And be committed to what we're trying to achieve, which is financial freedom, right? Shout out to Justin. He said he is here to leave a legacy for his kids and to help others build and get financially free. Love that reason, Justin. So guys, commitment, the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause. What's your cause? I want you to write it down like Justin did. All right, my next question for you is, why not you? All right, when I say those words, financially free, financial freedom, some people flip the switch off right away. They think they could never achieve it. They think it's unreachable. I think about in 2016, you've been with us for a while. You've heard this story before, but if you've not, all right, I'll just share it with you. I think it was 2016. At least you'll know the real day. I have a horrible memory. 2016, 2017. All right, we were living in the mountains of North Carolina. It was the winter. Our house was 4,500 feet in elevation, and it would snow there. All right, it doesn't snow everywhere in North Carolina, but at our house, it always snowed in the winter, all winter long, right? Couldn't even drive down our driveway. It was so steep. And I remember our furnace broke. Okay, we had an old school furnace, and that thing broke, and the house was freezing. Okay, it was going to cost like $1,500 to fix the thing. And I didn't have the money. We didn't have the money, right? We were paycheck to paycheck at that point. And I heated the house with a wood burning fireplace, right? I legitimately went outside and cut up trees with the chainsaw and started stacking firewood. And we used that to heat the house for like a week and a half until I got paid and we could fix the furnace. Okay. Our Tanner was like a couple months old at the time. The house stayed 50 degrees. Luckily, that fireplace worked pretty good. Stayed 50 degrees, though, for a week and a half until we could fix that. And I remember at that time, we never really thought that we could get to the point of being able to afford stuff like that, right? So if I had listened to this call back then, if Ryan in 2017 listened to this call, I'd have thought, man, that's a good dream, right? But how do you even do it? I don't even know how to begin to think about being financially free. I can't even pay for this furnace to get fixed without putting on a credit card or something like that. So why not you? Guys, believe it or not, becoming financially free is very, very easy when you know the right steps to take. All right, it's very simple. It's very easy when you believe that you could actually achieve it. And it's even easier when you realize that it's actually God's purpose for you to not be enslaved by things of this world like money. So if you know all those things are working for you, why not you? Why can't you become financially free? All right, here's the verse that dictates it perfectly. All right, for I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in a future. That's in that good book. Those are his plans for you. His plans for you are not that if your furnace breaks, you can't afford to fix it. Okay, so for I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you hope and a future. If you know that verse, then you should firmly believe that financial freedom is not just going to happen, right? It's destined to happen. It's an actual plan for you to have it happen. So how do you do it? Okay, next question is what if? See, it's easy, guys, to think about being financially free. Now let's get into the how to. Like, how do you actually do it? Okay, how do you do it? It's very simple when you just ask yourself these what if questions going into this week. Okay, first one, what if you ran? Okay, what if you ran towards becoming financially free instead of crawling and walking and struggling your way to get there? What if you just walked out of your door today and you ran to becoming financially free? What if I told you if you knocked on 30 doors today, you probably are going to sell 2 or 3 policies? That's going to generate anywhere between $1,000 to $3,000 in one day for you. What if you ran like that every single day? Okay. What if I told you if you picked up the phone today and you called 300 people, 300, you're going to close 2 to 3 sales, make 1 to 3 grand, and that's just in one day. How quick would you become financially free if you were making $1,000 to $3,000 a day? All right. What if you ran, guys? What if you ran? What if you just literally couldn't sleep at night? Right? When we started FFA, I'm not kidding you, I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, and just start working on stuff. All right. Because it was so exciting. All right. We were running. We weren't crawling, walking, struggling. Right. We got up and ran after what we were committed to. So there's another question for you. Are you running right now? Or are you just kind of fumbling your way, all right, through this industry as an agent? All right. And if you're fumbling, you got to change that, right? You got to put your running shoes on and get to running. So that's the first way of actually achieving this. Let's talk about number 2. What if you had urgency? Okay. If you guys were at our last year's conference, I proposed this question to you. But here it is. All right. Let's say if you have, think about the person you love the most in your life, whether it's your spouse, your kids, your parents, your friends, whoever it is. Okay. What if that person was abducted? All right. Like legit abducted, put in the back of a van, blindfolded and stolen. And you got a call and they said that if you didn't come up with X amount of money by this date, you would never see that person again. How quick would you come up with that dollar? I promise you, you would come up with that very, very quick. God would create a way for you to get that money in time to get your loved one back. You would do whatever it took, all right, to get that happen. What if it was your kid? Right? For me, I think of our kids. If somebody had my kids and they said, hey, you got to do X to get them back, I would do that instantly. I didn't care what I'd have to go through to get my kids back. I would run out of that door with urgency to actually have it happen. Now, I know in business and in your career, that's a little bit of an extreme example, right? But what if you actually viewed becoming financially free to that extent, right? What if you viewed it like that? What if you viewed it where you're not promised tomorrow? So what would happen to you and your family today if something happened to you? Are they set up forever? Do they have that legacy like Justin was talking about, right? That's my question. So guys, when you wake up, you don't have time to question whether or not you feel okay to go to work or whether or not you feel okay to get on the phones. The only thing you have time to do is run and be urgent because you're not promised the next day. And if something happens to you today, where are you leaving everybody else at, right? Is that legacy made yet or not? So wake up with that urgency, guys. You don't have time to waste. So what if you actually had that level of urgency going into today and into this week? All right. And the last question is, what if you didn't have a choice but to win? Right? Like, think about that. We were watching a show yesterday. If you've not watched this show, you need to watch it. Okay. It's called Extracted. And I have no idea what channel it's on. It's either on Prime or Hulu, one of those. But it's called Extracted. And it's these families, right? They come into this game show. And when they're in this game show, part of their family stays back at like the headquarters. And then one family member gets dropped off all right, in the woods, in the wilderness, and they have to survive. And the people that are back in the headquarters have to do things to get them resources like tools and stuff like that. But one of the events that they had to do, the family had to draw up a plan for a raft. All right, how to make a raft out of just wood, logs, whatever they could find in the woods. And so they sent their loved one this plan, and they got the drawing, right? And then they had to make it. Then they had to get on whatever raft they built and swim with it across the lake. It's a pretty big lake. It wasn't like a pond, pretty big lake, right? And, it was interesting. Some people got on that raft and went straight across the lake and never looked back. They didn't panic, right? They never looked back at where they were going. They just got on the raft and went. The water was like 50 degrees. So if you've ever been in lake water, that's pretty cold. The other people, okay, it was funny. The minute that their raft started to act up, okay, the minute their raft started to fall apart a little bit or water started to come on top of it, they would pause. They would get stuck in the middle of the lake, and then they would look back and they would look forward, and they didn't know whether or not to go back to where they came from or to go forward. They just were stuck there. And the longer they stayed stuck, the colder they got, and the more likely they were going to have to get extracted and kicked out of the game. I think they were playing for like 250 grand. But I think about this one guy who he was going across the lake, and he didn't really build his raft that good, but he started to sink a little bit, and he just stopped. He just sat there, right? I think about another guy who he was watching this guy go across the lake and saw him get stuck, and instead of even trying it, just quit. All right, he's like, I'm not doing this. I'm not swimming. I'm staying right here on this shoreline. So he didn't even try, right, to go across the lake. But the people that went at it like they didn't have a choice got across the lake, got all the supplies they needed to be able to survive another couple of days in the woods, and they made it to their goal. All right, but those people weren't attacking that with a backup plan. Like when they got in that water, they knew they only had one way to go, right? And it was across that lake. If you attack becoming financially free with that same attitude, you will win. All right. It might take you a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4. I don't know what your situation is, but you will win. Right. So what if you didn't have a choice but to win? A lot of times we lose because we give ourselves the option to lose. All right. Instead of to win. So you don't have a choice but to win. When we started FFA, I remember sitting in my car. I dropped Landon off at his elementary school. I remember sitting there having no idea, right, how to create this company, how to do all of this. And I just remember thinking, I don't have a choice but to win. So I know we're going to win, right? And boom, here we are years later, right? So guys, what if you didn't have a choice but to win? What if you actually didn't doubt that God wanted you to be free from the stresses of money, from the stresses of this world? What if you didn't doubt that and you gave yourself no option but to win? All right. Lastly, guys, I told you I was going to talk to you about numbers, right? It's one thing for me to jump on here and talk about all this, but how do you actually do it? Okay. I want to give you guys an example. All right. And this example is not just made up numbers, right? This example is actual average numbers from what I saw my first year in insurance, what Alicia saw, what many of you guys have saw. Now, obviously, we can't guarantee this to you, but this is just hypothetically what you should expect as an agent. Guys, check it out. If you're a full-time agent, you're doing 10 sales presentations in a week, and you only close half of those. A lot of you guys close 70 to 80% of those, but let's say you only close half, and you get about $3,500 of good business. It's approved, paid, issued, good to go, right? Guys, that's $182,000 of annual premium a year. Let's say you have some people cancel here and there, right? Get a little chargebacks. We all know how those work. You're going to finish the year probably around $163,000, okay, of income for that year. What would that do for you? All right. This is just on your own pen. That's what you should see. If you're not seeing that, it's because of a lack of activity, a lack of focus, or something is missing. Okay. Something's missing, but that is what you should see based off of those numbers. So, full-time agent, guys, that's what I saw pretty much my very first 12 months in this industry. I think I came in a little bit less. I think I finished 11 months in at 127,000, just right in business. Okay. Let's talk about it. If you take this opportunity and you take it and treat it like a business and you start training others to do this as well. Okay. Not only do you make your 163,000 off your own pen, but let's say you have 5 writing agents with you on your team. Guys, 5 writing agents going to equal about 17 to 18 team production a week. That's almost $1 million a year of team production, right? Let's just take a small override percentage, 5 to 10%. That's an extra $90,000 to $100,000 a year of income for you. That puts your income at $254,000. And how long does it take to achieve this? Guys, as long as you take to do it, right? As long as you run. You could be like that guy struggling to get across in his raft, or you could be like the guy that he literally put 3 logs together, wrapped them up, jumped on it, and paddled his way across the lake and got there first. So this opportunity for you is uncapped. Okay, this is just basic. Guys, this is what you should do in your first 1 to 2 years as an agent. If you're an experienced agent, you're not here yet, take these numbers and run from the next 1 to 2 years, right? And then build on top of that. Your income could literally be uncapped. How many of you would be financially free if this year you made $250,000? Probably most of you, okay? You can do it, and it's very, very simple. It's a very simple business to do it, but you got to be focused every single day, all right? And so my challenge to you guys as we wrap up this call is, how focused will you be going into the next 11 months, okay, of this year? For the rest of this year, we're 7 weeks into the year. How focused will you be for the rest of it? And those are the numbers you should expect. Those are just the basic numbers. You can build way up on top of those as you get going. And that's my goal for you, is to help you get from point A to point B. But the way we do it is we got to be committed to that cause. So I appreciate you guys for jumping on here today. We will wrap it up there. Let's go have a big week out there as an agency, and we will be back here on Wednesday.